Hi, this is Lois DeWitt, and today we're going to do a basic Conte crayon shading exercise. This is one of the first basic exercises that you can do to get acquainted with what shading is all about with Conte crayon. Conte crayon, if you're not familiar with this medium, comes in a little stick like this. It is extremely versatile. Has a little oil content in it, so it sticks to the paper, and it comes in all different kinds of colors. This particular dark brown I'm using I find really nice for building tonality. You could use black, dark blue, there's a dark gray, and all different kinds of colors, but for this particular exercise, which is all about developing tonality, this is a really good color, the dark brown. And then I also have a white eraser. You can use any eraser that's soft for this exercise. Then I also just have a sheet of paper towels and a nice big sketchbook. Okay, so now we're going to start with the cylinder. What we're going to do is just make a basic geometrical shape, a cylinder. You can do this just out of your imagination. Doesn't take a lot of talent to make this shape, which is good because what we're going to concentrate here on is shading and learning all about Conte crayon. When you get to learn what Conte crayon can do, the properties of it, and how to use this method, then you can go on to working with a still life and concentrating on seeing the forms and seeing how accurate they are, and you know, arranging it nicely in the paper, considering the composition, all those other things that is involved with subject matter. But for now, this is a really good exercise if you've never worked with Conte crayon before, just to kind of find out how it functions, how it works, especially as far as building up tonality, so that you can use it for doing a still life or any other kind of subject matter, or even just doing abstract work. You'll have a feel of how this medium works, and it's wonderful. I love Conte crayon. So I'm just starting out here. I've got my hypothetical cylinder done. This is a wonderful way of working very loosely. I'll show you as I progress with this how it's almost like painting in a way. And yes, it is a lot like working with charcoal or working with oil pastels. And you have a lot of leeway with how you're developing your drawing. Now I think I'm going to pretend that the light is coming just down on this object here, so that I'm going to leave this white, or make this white as this progresses. And I've sort of established a kind of a background here. So bring that tonality in a little bit. This is very dark in here. There's a shadow because it's the inside of the cylinder, and then if light's coming from this angle, there's going to be a shadow coming off this way. It doesn't take much to figure it out if you just think about it for a minute, that in any object, if it's illuminated a certain way, there's going to be shadows where the illumination isn't, and there's going to be highlights where the illumination is. So that's sort of the first phase of that. Now I'm going to take this paper towel, which works really good for, well, as you can see what a nice rich tonality you get. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm creating a nice rich surface on which I can build the tonality. And now I'm just going to go back in and start drawing again. There's the cylinder again. There's the lines for the background. Shadow is there. Put that in again. This is going to make more sense to you in a minute. why I'm doing it this way. Why I call it the addition and subtraction method, because actually I'm adding tonality, and then I'm going to be taking out some things with the eraser, which I'm going to be doing very soon. So there's the background again. What the wiping of the paper towel actually allows me to do is to start delineating between the dark of the container and the dark of the background. So I can actually get some nice precise tonality in there to express this form. Okay, so again, the old paper towel, I'm going to go over it again. What I end up here with is a kind of a ghost of my drawing. And it pretty much wipes out a lot of detail, but I can still see where I was with it. And it's getting pretty dark now. But notice what a nice, smooth, silky color I have on here. That's why I like this brown. Now, okay, in goes the cylinder again. Indication of the shadow again. Shadow here. Now, why I'm doing this over and over again is to build up the tonality, because what I want to do now is to bring in my eraser and remove some of this. So what this does is cuts through what I've rubbed, the pigment that I've rubbed into the paper. It cuts through and removes it quite nicely. And it really acts a whole lot like light. I'm actually, by erasing the pigment, bringing light back into the drawing. It's a very nice way of working. There's a lot of push-pull, dark against light by doing this. And you can learn a lot by building tonality by working this way. So I'm going to make some choices now, finishing up here. This is just a rough sketch to show you how to build tonality. I'm going to say, to make it more dramatic, the white against the dark, I'm going to really put some dark tonality in here, like that, that. Very dark right in there, because that's the inside of the container that's logically going to be quite shaded, quite in shadow. Then logically, of course, here, because if the light's coming from that angle, this is going to be in shadow. And then a dark shadow here. Now, this time I'm going to permit some of this dark to be here. Instead of using the paper towel, I'm going to select this, just using my hand. This way, you can get a difference between this dark here and the dark of the background, but it's not as dark as the shade on the container. So you can see how the form now is beginning to come out. And by smoothing it with my fingers, what I'm doing is really working that pigment into the paper. What if there's just a little bit of highlight here on the rim? See if we can do that with the eraser. Obviously, you can't get too much detail with just the tip of an eraser, but you can get enough so you can work with a highlight. It's sort of like working with a white Conte, which you can do too. But I think the eraser is terrific fun. showing you how you can work with Conte, adding the tonality and subtracting by erasing. And I could keep on going and build this up a little bit more, but I think for this demonstration you can see what a nice smooth gradation you can get. And to promote the detail a little bit more, you might want to go into certain areas just to emphasize the contrasts. The contrast of this background against this background here where the line is would be one way to go. And maybe just be a little more explicit with the shadow. Anyway, I think that's a good enough demonstration to show you. So get out your Conte crayon and get out your sketchbook and your paper towel and conjure up that cylinder in your mind and go to it. Develop that tonality.